Hello and welcome guys to the part 5 of YouTube Data API version 3, and in this video we are gonna leverage YouTube Data API and extract comments of a particular videos. So let's dive right into it. We are gonna head over to YouTube Data API documentation website. So the endpoint that we are going to be using is commentThreads endpoint. Since we are going to get a list of comments, so it will obviously would be a get request. So let's take a look at a dummy API response. For that, we are gonna have any random YouTube video. Let's say this one. Okay, we're gonna copy its YouTube ID and we're gonna have to paste it over here and execute. Okay, now in order since we're using retrofit from the first video and up till now we're using retrofit, and for retrofit needs model classes unlike volley. If some of you use volley, you have to manually parse the JSON response, but in retrofit it's not like that. For retrofit you need model classes, and to help you with the model classes there's a website called JSON schema to plain old Java object.org. In that you need to enter your package name would be, you can find that in manifest file also, but you can copy that from here as well. I'm gonna name it as model. Make sure these parameters are selected, and what we are gonna do is we are gonna pass this API response and when we click preview, okay, there's a problem in line 131. No, sorry, line 92. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, you already see that you can't have a double quotes inside another double quotes, so you're gonna have to escape that. So you're gonna just have to include a backslash in here and in here, and click on the preview. We have another error in line 156. Let's go on to line 156 and okay, if you have a new line in your API response, make sure to get rid of that because it gives an error on new line character, so you're gonna have to put in a new line character instead of a space for the new line. You know what I mean? Okay, so we get the model classes finally. Now what you can do is you can head over to the model package that we created in earlier videos, create a package named comments, and inside the comments we're gonna have a class called comment. You can name it whatever you want, since we're gonna retrieve comments, so it's kind of explanatory. Okay, you can copy all of this and paste it inside this class. Now this isn't really you can say a good practice to include every single class inside a single model class. Basically you can do, what you can do is you can create a separate class for each one of these. Separate class for top level comments, separate class for snippet, and a separate class for model. I'm doing this because to reduce time, because if I do that it's gonna take a lot of time, so it's just for demonstration purposes. And we're gonna get rid of, we have to get rid of these package and model packages and import statements. So get rid of that, get rid of that. Make sure to import everything because it's going to give you an error otherwise. Okay, now we have these classes that we are going to hand over to retrofit. And what retrofit is going to do, it's going to retrieve every single variable from the API that we saw here, and then we're going to extract these and pass these over to Recyclerview. If you don't know the Recyclerview, you have to head over to Android documentation and basically just read about what a Recyclerview really is, because it's basically it's included in like the basics, because I'm not gonna go over every single thing. It's really easy, and you're gonna find about Recyclerview inside one of these sections. So now we need to head over to the layout where we need to create a Recyclerview. Okay, my laptop is stuck. Okay. Now here I have already created a Recyclerview. Okay, this is where we would get a list of comments. It's a scrollable activity. As you can see, we have a nested scroll view. It has a single child because nested scroll views always have single child inside them. Okay, now I have created a Recyclerview and a text view, which is going to basically indicate the number of comments that we have that we are going to have at the runtime when the API is called. Okay, so these are basically just the placeholders to display what's actually going to be here. This is going to be replaced by the actual number of comments that we are going to have. Okay, so once you have created this Recyclerview, you're gonna have to create another layout which is going to explain how comments are generally like a generic structure of comments. So you're gonna have to explain the Recyclerview that this is the layout, this is like the generic structure of the generic layout that I want you, this is how I want you to structure the comments in a list. So once you see the results, it would be pretty clear to you. I'm gonna name it comment row item layout. Okay, and let's get started. We can name this a linear layout. Actually, it will be pretty easier. Okay, you can copy that, or you can create one yourself. You're gonna have a card view, match parent, grab content, and we're gonna give it a margin of 16. Okay, and we are gonna fit an ID card comment item. Okay, right. And the first things first, we're gonna have a thumbnail of the user. Okay, have content, thumbnail, user thumbnail, or instead of wrap content you have to put in a static width and height. Okay, and you're gonna have to give it a padding of 16. Alright, give that a padding of 16. Alright, let's make our card view a little pretty. For that we're gonna have its edges a little bit round. Okay, we're gonna have to give it an elevation. So there you go, it's looking pretty good. Okay, now we're gonna have a text view which is basically going to have a username, name of that user which is commenting. We're gonna have a linear layout, transparent, and we're gonna have that inside the card view. We're gonna have its orientation in horizontal. Alright, it would have an ID of username. We're gonna have a margin top of 16. Okay, and a margin end of 8 display pixels. We're gonna give it a text size of 16. We're gonna make it bold, and for a placeholder we can write in username, you know, and to make it a little bit prominent, there you go. Okay, so username would be replaced by the username of that actual person who has commented on the video, or multiple users. Okay, and now we are going to have an other text view underneath this linear layout. It is going to have an ID of comment, because obviously we're going to have to show the comment of the user. Yeah, let's give it a placeholder of comment. We don't want it bold. You can give it a default text size. Alright, and it's gonna have a margin top of 20. Let's say, actually we can comment it out for a second, because we can put another linear layout inside this, and it's gonna have an orientation of vertical. Okay, and there you go. Uncomment this 16. Oh no. Okay, Okay, there you go. You can give it a margin of 8 display pixels, and we can give it a margin of 8 display pixels, or margin, actually that was okay. Margin start of 8 display pixels. Okay, there you go. Okay, now we have our generic structure of how comments are usually going to be displayed. Okay, so it's gonna be a list of card views like these, and here we would have a thumbnail, username, and a comment. It's these this card view is going to be stacked upon each other in like a list of comments, which you can see, which you would understand when you see the final output of the video that I'm going to show you at the end of the video. So the next thing that we want to do is head over to get data service, and we would actually have to write the parameters and the endpoint for the retrofit to be able to call that API. Now we know that the endpoint name is commentThreads. We can paste that over here, and inside this call we would have to write this class, model class. I'm gonna tell you the reason why in a minute. Okay, you can name this get comments data. You can name it whatever you want, and this API needs to have certain parameters which are necessary. To call those query parameters, we need to have a part. These are the parameters which are necessary. Part parameter is necessary. It needs to have one of these parameters. Okay, now just like the above call, I'm gonna copy that, and the next parameter that it needs is the video ID. You can also get comments of relating to that particular channel if you want, because since that is not the purpose of this video, the parameter that we are interested in is video ID. So I'm gonna call another query parameter, and we're gonna have video ID parameter over here, and a max results query parameter, which would be obviously an integer type, as you can see the type over here. So we can call that, and that's probably not it. We have one last thing to do, and that is key. The API key, in order for this API to work, it's necessary that you have to get the API key from the Google console, which I have shown how to do that in the very first video of this series. Okay, now that you have created the endpoint over here, and basically the call for the retrofit, now what we need to do, we need to create the adapter, which would actually help us in showing the list of comments. I'm gonna call this comments adapter, which I actually have. Inside these comments adapter, we would have, as usual, a create view holder, a bind view holder, and the items count. Okay, now because it's gonna be the same thing as we did in the previous video tutorial, So I'm gonna be copying most of the stuff from this class. It's gonna be the pretty much the same thing. We're gonna have a list of items. Oh yeah, I forgot. I wanted to tell you guys the reason that we wrote model over here is because we are interested in, I'm gonna show you, when you look at this API response, we are interested in the items list. We want to extract everything that is inside this items list, and by everything I mean these values which are of interest. You can also get video ID, you can also extract kind, but that is not the interest of our video right now. We want to display comments. So inside this items array, as you can see, we have a model class over here, and inside the model class we have this items list. So what retrofit is going to do, it's going to retrieve these items array, it's going to go over to items class, and it's going to retrieve the snippet. As you can see, inside this items class we have a snippet JSON object, and inside the snippet we have another JSON object named top level comment, and here we have the values. It's like a hierarchy of JSON objects placed inside each one of another. So inside the snippet class we would have a top level comments class. As you can see, snippets class, top level comment, and another snippet. Then we would have our desired values. So this is the top level comments. Then inside the top level comments we would have another snippet class, and these are the things that we need to retrieve. So inside these snippets you can retrieve all of these. You can actually also show the like count, the publish date, but we are gonna keep it really simple. We're gonna only show the author name and the original text. Okay, so heading over to this adapter, we need to remove, actually we need to specify what item we are going to be including. That was the correct one. Okay. Alright, date, we don't need that because we are not showing the date. And we need a constructor. The reason we need the constructor is because we're gonna be referencing this constructor, this adapter basically, inside the video activity, because obviously we have the Recyclerview inside the activity video. So that's why we need to create an adapter, so that we have a way to reference this adapter and show a list of comments. And the next thing that we need to do is we need to inflate the layout so that this Recyclerview knows that okay, this is how you want me to show the comments. Like, it wants to know how it needs to show the comments, what is the layout. So in order to do that, inside this onCreateView holder, I'm gonna need you to copy these two lines because it's gonna be mostly the same, except of video details adapter we would have comments adapter, and instead of video view holder we would have the view holder that we created, and inside this we would have a comments row item. Okay, as you can see, the one that we created. So what it's gonna do, let's suppose retrofit at the runtime is parsing the API. It comes across a single, like you can see these are a lot of comments. So let's say it comes up across the first and the really zeroth item of the array list. Okay, it's gonna extract these values and it's gonna attach these values to the specific text views and the image. Okay, this link inside this image view. Okay, we're gonna use glide for that. And how it's going to attach those specific values inside the username, comment, and the image view, we are gonna look at that later in this comments view holder. It's gonna be pretty clear when we get at the end of this comments adapter class. So the next thing we need to do is we need to return the actual size of this list. So it's gonna look at the size. It's gonna say, is the size not equal to null? It's gonna check if we are really getting an array list, because there can be any problem, literally any problem. There can be like an internet connection. If you have an internet connection and you are not able to call the API, you would have 0 item in your list. So you need to make a check that you are really getting a list. To do that, you need to make a return statement. Video detail size not equal to null. If it is not equal to null, we would have our size. If it is equal to null, we would return 0. Is equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, we're gonna return 0. If it's not equal to 0, we're gonna return the list size. Okay, so okay, the next thing we need to do is we need to have a reference of these 3 things. So we're gonna copy the IDs and we're gonna create a variable. Actually it's let me see. Okay, yeah, image view, user thumbnail, we have a text view of username and a text view of comment. Okay, and we're gonna find that views through their IDs. As you can see, these are the views that we are interested in and we have given them the IDs. So this adapter needs to know what are your specific views that you want to place in your data. We want to place in an image view of that user. We want a username of that user and the actual comment of that user. So in order to find the view by ID, you need to call the method item view dot find view by ID, and this is the ID that we have given it over here. Okay, I'm gonna do the same for the rest of these. Okay, and the last thing that we need to do is okay, this is where everything the main thing works. Folder dot username dot set text. Okay, we're gonna name this comments list. Okay, this dot comments list. Okay, comments list dot get position dot get snippet get actually comments list dot get snippet. This is not the class, this item, this is the class that we need to import. You can get rid of the class that we previously created because we have multiple items class, so that's why it got confused. You need to import a specific items class of this comments package. Okay, dot get position dot get snippet get top level comment get snippet and get author display name. I'm gonna tell you what's happening over here. It's really easy. Okay, so this is how the Recyclerview knows that it's going to get the author display name from the API. As I told you, it's going to head over to the items class. Okay, because we need the items list, it's gonna head over to the items class, and inside the items class it's going to go over to the snippet class, then the top level comment, again the snippet, and inside the snippet it's going to retrieve these. As you can see, the exact same pattern that I have done here. So it's going to basically loop over every single API that we have over here. It's a long list of comments. It's going to loop over every single comment, and for every single comment it's going to get the display name, and it's going to set the text on that text view that we had over here. Okay, and similarly it's the same thing for the comment, and for the same thing profile picture we have using glide to load the image URL inside this image view that we had over here, this one. Okay, now I'm gonna head over to the video activity, Inside this video activity, we would have we would create a function get comments data. You can name it whatever you want. Create method, and inside this method we would call the get data service. You can copy that. Okay, and we can basically, this is what we would have to write by ourselves. Okay, we head over here and comment.model. Okay, comments request is equal to data service dot get comments data, and inside here you can have a snippet. As you can see, this is the parameter that we had, snippet comma replies. Okay, second thing that we need is the video ID that we are actually getting. I showed you on the previous video tutorial how are we getting this video ID. It's pretty simple. If you don't know how we are getting this video ID, you have to watch my previous tutorial. And for the max results, this is basically how many comments do you want in your Recyclerview. If there are like a tons of comments, you know, like so many comments in your video, you're gonna basically have to paginate. By that I mean pagination. If you're familiar with the Recyclerview pagination, if you're not, Google it. So I'm gonna have a max results of 10, and the final thing that we're gonna have is the API key that we get from the Google console. Also, once again, I have shown you how to do this in my first video. Okay, my bad. Here we have to write the video ID variable instead of actual video ID string. Now what do we need to do is call this method in queue, and we have two callbacks, on failure callback and on response callback. Let's say if you can have any failure reason, for example you don't have an internet connection, or there's something wrong in our code, it's gonna head over to this callback and it's basically gonna tell you that there's something wrong with your code, or you don't have an internet connection. So we're gonna have to copy this toast and we're gonna log the error so that we can debug it later on. Alright, and if the API is successful, the response is successful, and if the response body is not equal to null, and only then we would set up the Recyclerview. In order to do that, I'm gonna head over to main activity and we're gonna log this error so that we know the API response is we really are getting the API response. These checks are necessary so that we don't get an error later on. Okay, now we need to set up the Recyclerview. For that we need to create a function. Oh, my bad. Get items. Okay, create method, and we are going to have a couple of references for our recycler view. Comments recycler view, we're gonna have a reference to our adapter. Yep, comments adapter. Okay, and we are going to find these through their IDs. My bad, we're gonna have recycler view instead of the adapter over here. Dot comments recycler view, and you can see this is the ID that we are referring to. And now we are going to head over to this method, and we are going to copy this because it's going to be pretty much the same. Okay, and yeah, we need to remove that because it's not necessary over here. Comments adapter, video.this items, video.this. Oops. And comments adapter. Alright, let's put in else cases in case that we actually got the response but the items array is null. In that case, we need to log the response so that we can debug it later on, because anything can happen at any time. So you can write response body is null. If this is the else case, if for example the response is not successful because you don't have a internet connection, you can log the error response not successful, and you can also show a toast. Or you can basically say something went wrong. It's like the gist of it. Okay, I think we are good to go. So I'm gonna fire up my Genymotion virtual mobile. It's gonna take a couple of minutes, so you're gonna have to bear with me. Okay, I'm gonna open up my Nexus XP. And there is one more thing. Actually, I forgot for this text view. For this text view, the first thing that we need to do is we have to give it an ID. Oh yeah, I have actually already given it an ID. So we would have comment size. Comment size is equal to find view by ID. Comment size. Okay. And remove that. and inside this if case we're gonna refer to the comment size text view and set it to the size of the list. Right, so we're gonna have comments dot concat response dot body dot get items dot size, and we need to do one more thing, string dot value of. Okay, I believe we have our Genymotion fired up. I'm gonna close this and run it, and let's hope that everything goes as we expect it to. We can also open our logcat so that we can readily catch the error in case we have any. It's gonna take its time depending upon your laptop, its processing speed and everything, and basically your RAM. Okay, let's go over to any of these videos. And something went wrong, we have an error. Let's see, do we have inside the logcat? Failed to construct Java implementation legal. Okay. Suppose we're gonna have to the response is not successful. Okay, so I believe we have done something wrong. Let's see, what do we have here? The key is the same. We have our part, we have our I don't understand. We have called our endpoint correctly. Oh no, we weren't calling our endpoint correctly. Actually, we had capital C over here because it's case sensitive, so you are gonna have to look into every single detail. So let's try that again. And there you go. So you have the list of the comments. As I told you, you can see the generic layout for the comments. We have a cart item, username, and the user comment. So let's fix this. Actually, we are getting some kind of UI error here. So for that, I'm going to have to wrap content, and it's gonna place itself in the center. Okay. And let's try that again. Okay, so as you can see, it looks pretty good. You have the actual comments. How many comments do you have? You have 10 comments. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And there you go. That's it for this video, guys. And make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and comment below if you have any errors or issues, and I will make my effort to resolve them as best as I can. So I will see you guys next time.